Welcome to vlog number 1. My name's Sam. This is the $100 to $100,000 bankroll challenge. We started on March 24th, a $100 deposit on PokerStars. We played about 9 sessions of tournaments, 180 across the board, just over $1,000 in buy-ins. We had an in the money of about 24%, ROI of over 80%. We actually won 4 tournaments. This is about a profit of, I think, 900 and something US dollars. So conversion rate has brought us to 1330 Canadian. We took our 4 buy-ins, heads to casinos, played some 1-3 live. There's a lot to cover. Let's get into it.
Alright, first hand of the session, we look at an under the gun +1 limp, and we're going to raise it up to $15 with ace of hearts, 10 of diamonds on the button. The under the gun +1 player calls, and we're off to a flop of ace 8-4 with 2 clubs. Check it over to us. We're just going to check this one back, play some pot control. We're not going to get 3 streets here. Turns to 7 of hearts, and the under the gun +1 player goes ahead and bets 25. Pretty big bet. Nothing to do here but call. River comes the 5 of diamonds, bringing a 4 to a straight on the board. He again bets pretty big, $50 into 84. Nothing to do but call. If he's got a 6, he's got a 6. We call and get shown the jack 7 of clubs, so we're going to scoop this one. Alright, so in this hand we look down at 3 of diamonds, 3 of clubs, and we're facing 3 limps in the small blind. We're going to go ahead and raise this up to $20 because we don't play limped pots. And only the button calls. Go down to a flop that comes 5-4-2, 2 diamonds. We decide to range bet here, $15. I don't really think our range is strong enough to be betting this for 1/3 pot. That being said, this hand does make some sense to bet, and I do like a small bet size here, so go ahead and bet 15. Button makes a call, and we're off to a turn, which is the 7 of spades. We'd be turning our hand into a bluff if we keep betting here, and we do have some showdown value, so we elect to check. And we face a small bet of $35, which we're going to go ahead and call. River is 3 of hearts, so we do turn a set, but there is a one-liner. Any ace, any 6 makes a straight. We check, and he checks back, and we show down, and our set is good. Alright, third hand of the day. We face 2 limps. We look down at king of diamonds, jack of clubs in the cutoff. We're going to go ahead and raise this up to $20. And both players call. So we go 3 ways to a flop of ace 8 to rainbow. When it checks to us, I think this is a very clear range bet here, so we bet $20, and only the hijack calls. Off to a turn, which comes the ace of spades. Pretty good card for our range. It really makes it hard for him to continue with any 8 or 2, seeing as they're drawing dead to any ace. So when he checks to us, we can bet small here. So I bet 45, and he makes the call. River is a 9 of spades. I think that this is a give up. I don't mind an overbet jam here every once in a while. Yeah, I don't know. He checks to us, and we're just going to give this one up, and we get shown 5 deuce of diamonds. Got owned. Alright, so in these next 3 hands, it's all against the same person. This first hand, we look down at aces. So middle position is the villain, and he raises it up to $10, which folds around to us in the hijack. Obviously going to 3-bet this. We're going to make it $30, and the button is actually going to overcall here. Blinds get out of the way, and he 4-bets to $100, which amazing, just amazing. I think we want to keep the button in on this hand, try and get this all in 3 ways on the flop. SPR is going to be so low, and I don't mind taking a little bit of variance here, so we just flat here on the hijack. Button thinks for a long time, even counts out calling chips, but ultimately folds. So we're heads up to a flop. It comes pretty nice. Jack 7-4, it's flush draw on board, and villain doesn't think for too long and just ships 250-ish effective in. We call, he shows us pocket 10s. And clean run out. Yeah, sweet. On to the next hand. Alright, so this is the next hand. He's rebought for 400 and already lost about 150. This is less than an orbit away. He's a little bit tilted. But he does go ahead and open the hijack to $10. We look down at pocket queens in the small blind. We're going to 3-bet this to $30. Big blind is going to overcall here. And good news, hijack actually puts in the 4-bet again, but only to $75 this time. This time we're not wanting to bring the big blind in. He's got about 400 behind, so he does cover us, and I don't want to go 3 ways to a flop to queens. He's only got like 175 behind, so we're just going to ship it in here. So we go all in. Big blind folds, hijack calls without much thought. Board runs out jack 6-3. Turn top set, so no more sweat, and we river a boat, and the hijack shows pocket tens again. We're going to scoop that one. Alright, so this is our final hand with him. He's under the gun +1, raise it up to $6. We're in the low jack with pocket threes. We're going to go ahead and make the call. Hijack and button both come along. Flop's pretty good. Flop is 7-7-3 with 2 spades. He surprisingly checks it. We're definitely going to start betting here. Build a pot. We don't bet too big. We go ahead and bet $15. So hijack makes the call, button folds, and now I'm looking over at him, and he's quite tilted. He's smashing chips into the table. He's got about $75 in his hand. He's counted out to raise, and then he counts out 125. Like this looks pretty good, but ultimately he decides on a fold. Off to the turn, which is the 9 of clubs. Nothing to do here but bet. We're going to bet $40. Hijack player calls. Off to a river, which is a 10. There are a few boats here that beat us, 7-9, 7-10. But I think we can still get value here. If he's got a missed spade draw, I could check it over to him, but I decide not to. These players don't really bluff too much, so we're going to go ahead and bet $100, try and get some value from the random 7. Unfortunately, hijack folds. Alright, so we have ace-8 of diamonds facing a limp. We're going to go ahead and raise this up to $15. We go 4 ways to a flop, which comes down king 7-4 with a king of diamonds. Heads up, definitely going to range bet this. 3 ways, probably going to range bet this. 4 ways, no chance. Luckily it checks through, and we get a pretty good turn card. Queen of diamonds. Checks to us again. We could bet here. I think I actually like betting more in retrospect now. But we do go ahead and check. And checks the cutoff, who has been stabbing a lot. He goes ahead and bets $45, and when it folds back to us, we could call, we could fold, or we could raise. All 3 options are pretty good here. Given that he is stabbing a lot, I do like a raise, but we're going to take the low variance route, and we are just going to call here. Our ace is probably going to be good unless he has jack 10, so we do have 12 outs, as well as ace high might be good some of the time. Hijack gets out of the way, and we're off to a river, which is the 3 of hearts, so no help. We're just going to check fold this. Luckily for us, he checks it back, and we are good. Nice. Alright, final hand of the night. We are packing up our chips after this, so we do look down at queen 10 of spades, and we're going to go ahead and raise this up to $12. Person to our left calls, and I believe the button also calls. Yeah. 3 ways to a flop. Comes down pretty good. King 6-6 with a spade. Easy range bet here. We've got 60% of a royal, backdoors galore. We don't have to bet too big. We should have bet about $12 here, but I bet 15. And the under the gun +2 player is an old guy. Very, very, very nitty post flop. He goes ahead and clicks it back to 30. It folds to us. Against a balanced player, this is a clear call. We are unblocking his bluff range, and we're blocking the part of his bluff range that actually beats us, queen jack. Yeah, we're just going to fold this. This is a 6 or at least a king every single time. And we are going to lock up a pretty big win on our first session. We played for 4 hours. We were in for $400, out for $1,069, bringing the total bankroll up to $1,999. We're almost 2% of the way there on our first session. And we got 2 more sessions to go in this video, so I'll see you in the next one.
3, 4.
Alright, so first hand of the session, we have 5-4 spades facing 5 limps. And we go ahead for the squeeze play. This is not good. This is a mistake. The original limper is short stacked. He's only got $76. As well as you want your squeeze ranges to be linear, not polar. You want to unblock hands like 5-4 spades that can fold. Just a mistake, you know. We go ahead and raise up to $27. Only the original raiser calls. So we're heads up to a flop with basically one SPR. And the flop comes down pretty good. We do flop a pair and a gut shot and a backdoor flush draw. With one SPR, we're just going to go for it. We ship it all in. He calls us, and we get a 2 and an 8, and villain rolls over ace 8 off. This is why you don't make this play. Alright, on to the second hand. We've got ace of clubs, jack of diamonds under the gun. We could raise, we could fold, either is fine. We elect to raise it up to $12, and the cutoff calls, and so does a big blind. So we're 3 ways to a flop, which comes down king, queen, 2 with 2 spades. Checks to us. I think that we could do a range bet here. King high flop, semi-connected. We're just going to go ahead and bet this. We do have a gut shot. And the cutoff calls. So on to the turn. Turn's good. Turn's the 10 of diamonds. So we turn Broadway. Since we did range bet on the flop, and this is a pretty big board changing turn, I think an overbet is necessary here on the turn. So we are going to go ahead and bet $75 here. Cutoff does make the call, and we're off to a river. We're hoping for a brick. We don't get it. We do get the 4 of spades, and here I make a pretty big mistake. I think about this for a while, definitely not long enough. I was only thinking for like a minute, maybe 2. And I was just thinking, you know, what hands can really call here that make a flush on the river? Like Jack X of spades, Ace something of spades. You know, there are a few gut shots, flush draw combos that can call. And I think his 2 pairs would have raised on the turn at least. So I don't really know what I'm targeting with this bet, but I do go ahead and ship it all in with an overbet on the river. He calls us pretty quickly, just not a good sign, and he shows us the Jack 7 of spades, so we are going to lose that one. Alright, a few hands later, we're looking down at king of spades, jack of clubs, in the small blind facing 3 limps. We're definitely going to go ahead and squeeze this. It's a good linear range. So we're going to bump it up to $21. We get four ways to the flop. We're probably going to need some help, which we do get. Comes down queen 10, 9 rainbow. What a flop. We're definitely going to go ahead and bet this out for pretty big sizing. It's pretty common that one of these players, at least 1 or 2, will have connected with this flop, so we bet 60. The under the gun plus 2 player calls, or sorry, doesn't call. He takes $100 chips, puts it into the middle, and that's not enough for a raise. But as he's counting it out, he says raise. So luckily it's binding, and it counts the $120 min raise. So folds back to us. I think we're just going to want to stick it in here, you know. There's a lot of bad turn cards that could come, so we're going to raise it up to $200, like basically just clicking it back to him. And lucky for us, he doesn't think for too long, just ships it all in. We call, and he tells us he's got queen jack, so board runs out 7 of spades and 4 of diamonds, and we are going to scoop that one. Alright, in this hand, we are in mid-position with ace of clubs, queen of hearts, facing a limp. Definitely going to go ahead and raise this up to $15, and only the under the gun plus 1 player calls. We're going heads up to a flop, which comes out pretty good. You know, queen of diamonds, 9, 7, rainbow. Checks to us, we're going to bet just over half pot here, $20, and he calls. Turn's not great, 8 of spades. Board is getting pretty connected, some straight draws got there. When he checks it to us, I still think that our hand is good enough of the time to bet, so we do bet $45 here. Villain just snap raises us to 145. She goes 100 more. This is just a fold, you know. Live to fight another day. We're gonna fold it, and he is gonna show us the turn set with the pocket 8s. Alright, on to the next hand. We've got the ace 4 of hearts in the big blind with the button straddle on. So small blind completes, and we raise this up to $25, and we get 2 callers. Let's see, hijack and the small blind both call. So 3 ways to a flop, which comes pretty nice. 5-4 deuce, we flop a backdoor flush draw, gut shot to the bad end of the straight, and middle pair. When it checks to us, we're not looking to bet this. Our hand's not strong enough, and we don't really want to build a pot since most of the cards that can come really don't give us the nuts. So we check it over to the hijack, who bets $30, and we both make the call. Turn's okay. We turn 2 pair with the ace of spades. Still not looking to lead out here or anything like that. So checks the hijack and he bets just over half pot. So $95. Small blind folds. And on us, I think we can only call here. I think folding isn't bad either. But we elect to call. River's a 3. So straight on the board. And here I think we can lead a decent amount as a bluff. The 6s in his range, like pocket 6s aren't betting the turn. 3-6 is the only hand we're really worried about. Maybe ace-6, but I don't really see that betting the flop either. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and go all in here, and hopefully he doesn't have 3-6. We jam, he snaps us. Luckily for us, he just shows 3-4 of spades. Bit of a quick decision for over 100 big blinds, I think. Alright, we've got Queen 9 of spades in middle position. We are facing a limp. We're going to bump it up to $15. Player to a direct left and the low jack calls. Folds back to the under the gun +1 player who calls 15. 3 ways to a flop, which comes alright. We'll flop a flush draw, 5-3 deuce, 2 spades. When it checks to us, we're going to bet, 2/3 pot here. Make about $30. Low jack doesn't think for too long. He seems like a reg. When he sat down, he asked about the rake, so I assume he's like a decent-ish player. He raises us to $90. Under the gun +1 player gets out of the way. And we're going to make the call. We've got 2 overs here and a flush draw. And turn doesn't improve our hand. It's the 8 of clubs. Check it over to him, and he bets 145. We're almost getting direct odds here to call, coupling the fact that he could be bluffing here. Could go either way. But we decide to call. River's good. River's the ace of spades. Just what we want to see. Now, I don't really have a lead range in this spot against a reg. So, while we could be missing out on some value from sets, maybe some straights, we're just going to check it over to him. Luckily, he does go all in. Give the call, and we get shown the 6-4 of spades. He flopped a straight and river to flush. Brutal, 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 brutal. Alright, button straddle is live, and we look down at ace-3 of hearts. After the big blind completes, we are going to raise this up to $25. Folds around to the button, who's only got about $82 behind, and he goes ahead and ships it all in. Folds back to us. This is nearly a third of our stack, a third of his stack. This is almost a mandatory call, which we do. And flop comes down. Ace King 4 with 2 hearts. Pretty nice. Turn 7, river 7, and ace 3 is good. Alright, so in this hand we got pocket 10s. We do have an under the gun raised to 6. Player to his left calls, and it folds around to us on the cutoff with pocket 10s. Definitely going to raise against this small sizing. Anything larger I would consider just flatting here, but we're going to bump it up to $30. Folds back to the under the gun +1 raise. Sorry, the under the gun player who calls, and the under the gun +1 player gets out of the way. Flop comes pretty good. We flop a set. Jack 10-7 with 2 clubs. Very wet flop, so when it checks to us, we're going to want to bet, and we're going to want to go big. $50, I could size up a little bit, 55, 60. That doesn't really matter too much. We go ahead and bet 50, and he makes the call. Turn's alright. Turns the king of spades, so ace queen gets there. Queen 9. Those hands aren't too likely. I'm more worried about clubs. So when it checks over to us, it's a bit of an awkward sizing. He's only got 260 behind here. But I still want to deny equity, even though I'm leaving him with not too much behind on the river. So we're going to bet 120 here. Thinks for a while, but does toss in the call. And we're just praying for a brick river, or a 7, or a 10, something nice. And it delivers. We get the 7 of diamonds. So when he checks it over to us, clear shove for value, and we ship it all in. He barely thinks this time and calls it off with the king jack off. So we're going to scoop that one. Alright, so we are under the gun with pocket 9, so we're going to go ahead and raise this up to $12. It's going to fold over to the button, who's a very tight player, pre-flop, like 90% VPIP, 5% PFR kind of player, and he 3-bets us to $25. Small blind, big blind get out of the way, folds back to us. I'm not looking to 4-bet anyone really with 9s at 100 big blinds deep, so we go ahead and make the call. Flop comes pretty poor. King, queen, 8 with 2 spades. We're pretty much just going to check fold this. To my surprise though, he checks this back. He is a player that bets a lot, so I'm quite surprised by this. Turn is pretty good though. Turn a set of 9s. We're going to go ahead and bet. Literally any value hand here is at least a gut shot. You know, 10s, jacks, ace jack, ace 10, some kind of pairs. So we can bet about half pot here, which we do, and to my surprise he actually folds. Don't really know what kind of hand he could have had there. I'm surprised to see that fold, but alright, happy to take this down after that flop. Alright, so in this hand the cutoff has come back to the table and posted $3. The under the gun player limps, and we're going to raise it up to 18 with ace of spades, 10 of hearts. A little bit on the loose side, but I think it's okay. Hijack calls, cutoff calls, and the button calls. We're 4 ways to a flop, and we get top pair. Ace 5, 4, 2 diamonds. Against 4 players, I'm not looking to bet this. This is clearly in our check range, so we go ahead and check it. Hijack bets 20. Cutoff calls, button folds, and nothing to do here but call. Turn is the 9 of spades, so once again just check calling. Hijack bets really small again, 25. We all call, and I'm not too worried about denying equity to cutoff, who's probably on a diamond draw. If he gets there, he gets there, right? I don't want to blow up the plot against that hijack. So river comes, king of diamonds. If the cutoff gets fancy here, we are going to let this hand go. So check it over to the hijack, who bets $35. So small. Cutoff gets out the way. I don't think we're ever good here. Maybe like ace 8, ace 7, ace 6. The player is very loose. I think we're just going to go ahead and pay him off here. It sucks, but we call the 35, and he shows us the ace 5 of clubs. Alright, we got ace 7 of diamonds in the small blind here. We got 2 limps, and the button goes ahead and raises it up to $15. For once, it's not us doing the raising. Ace 7 of diamonds, I think we can call this out of the small blind. Pretty okay. Could go either way. We do call, and both the limpers call. Flop comes down alright. It's 9, 8, 6 with a diamond. So we flop an open ender and a backdoor flush draw. Checks to the button, who bets $25. We could raise, but there's 2 players with they've just checked behind us. I'm not looking to bloat the pot. We're just going to call this, and both players also call. Off to a turn, which comes pretty good. Offsuit 5. 4 ways, I'm not balanced here. I'm leading out, and I pretty much only have straights here. I don't know how to balance his 4 ways. We bet about half pot here, $85. Under the gun plus 1 player calls, and they both fold. River, deuce of clubs, pretty good. Now I think I make a pretty big mistake here. It's quite obvious I've got a straight, and I think at another bet of $85 could possibly get a crying call. I don't think an all-in is going to call me. So I do end up shoving all in, but I think in retrospect I like a small bet sizing here. We go all in, player folds. Alright, in this hand I did forget to hide his hand, so bear with me. Folds around to us on the button with pocket kings. We're going to go ahead and raise this up to $12, and only the big blind calls. Flop comes down, pretty good for us. Jack 8, 4 rainbow. I think a half pot bet is fine here, which we do, and we get raised up to $30. This is the player that had the ace 5 of clubs versus us and flopped a 2 pair and bet very small 3 streets. So it is the same player again. Turn comes to 6 of hearts, and he goes ahead and bets pretty big this time, $50. I think we're beat here almost every time. This just feels like Jack 8 to me every single time. But on a 4 or 6, we're pretty good. On a king, we're good. So I do go ahead and call. I think it's a bit too tight to fold right away. River doesn't help us. It's a 9 of clubs, and he bets $50 again. And you know what? I just fold this. I don't think we're good here. I know it's such a small bet into this, but we fold the king's face up and he does show us the jack 8 off. Alright, we're in mid position and we look down at ace of hearts, king of diamonds. Pretty good hand. We're definitely going to raise this up to $12. Now, a very passive player makes it 30 in the hijack. So when it folds around to us, I'm not looking to put in the 4-bet here. I know he's short. Not even really short, he's like 80 big blinds. I'm just going to call here and play post flop. So, flop was pretty good. Ace 10-4, 2 hearts, flop top pair, top kicker, and when I check it to him, he does check back. So I think we're good here almost always, unless he's trapping. Turn, 5 of hearts. Alright, we have the ace of hearts, so we're not too worried. I'm going to go ahead and bet half pot here, which I like to do on 3 to a flush boards. It allows you to bet larger ranges, right? Like, I can now bet my top pair, top kicker with ace of hearts. I can bet 2 pairs. It just allows you to bet a wider range when you don't use such a big sizing when there's 3 to a flush on the board. So, bet 30, he makes the call, and the river, 4 of spades, doesn't change much. We're going to go for some value here. We bet about $100, and he calls fairly quickly. Doesn't show his hand, we're good. Alright, mid position again with queen jack of diamonds. Facing a limp from under the gun, we're going to go ahead and raise this up to 15, and we get 4 callers. So, 5 ways to a flop. We do make top pair, so backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw, top pair, okay kicker. 5 ways, I'm not looking to bet this. I know our hand benefits quite a bit from equity denial, but I'm just not looking to bet this 5 ways. So I check it over. Hijack bet 16. The cutoff calls. Button folds. Under the gun player also calls. Now looking at their stacks, hijack's got $29 behind, and the cutoff has $64 behind. The under the gun player would have definitely put in a raise if he's got me beat here. So we're just gonna go with a hand here. We're gonna bump it up to $100. Hijack folds, and the cutoff, who's the player who's flopped 2 pair against us twice, goes ahead and calls again. Undergun player gets out the way, and we go all into the turn, which comes the 5 of hearts and the river, the 10 of diamonds, and our opponent shows the queen 10. This guy, we can't beat him. Okay, we got the pocket 7s here on the button, and we're facing 3 limpers, so we're going to go ahead and raise this up to $20. Only the original limper calls. So we are heads up to a flop, which comes pretty good. We flopped another set. 8, 6, 7, rainbow. So checks to us. I'm going to go ahead and bet just over half pot here, $30. Player doesn't think for too long though, and raises us to 100. I've seen this player go all in with 200 big blinds with a very merged range on the turn, like ace jack, and he got stacked by jack 10 on like a jack high drive flop when the other person turned 2 pair. So given the read that he does raise very, very merged, I think 7s is way ahead of his range, and we can call pretty confidently here. Turn is a brick, 2 of hearts. We're still going with the hand. He ships it all in pretty quickly for 250. We don't think for too long and make the call. River is another brick, jack of clubs, and he shows us a 5-4 offsuit. Ouch. Ouch. Alright, we've got the aces and the under the gun +1, and we're going to bump it up to $12. Hijack calls, and so does the big blinds. We're 3 ways to a flop, which comes down okay. It's jack 10-4 rainbow, a little bit connected. The big blind goes ahead and leads into us for almost pot, $30. This player has been donking almost every single pot they played with me. So I'm a little bit worried about this big sizing because it's a little bit bigger than he normally does. So I'm just going to call here. Play a bit cautiously. We are very deep. I'm not looking to get it in for just a 1 pair hand. Hijack gets out the way, turns the 7 of spades. It's a pretty bad card. 8-9 gets there. Bets 45, which is a little bit on the smaller size. I'm feeling pretty good about my hand here. I make the call. Off to river's a 2 of hearts, and he goes ahead and bets very small, $65. I'm almost confident I have the best hand here, so I'm going to raise fold this hand. We're going to bump it to $200. He doesn't think for too long and just folds. Later on this session, he told us he had king queen, so there's that. Okay, we're facing two limps here, and we look down at ace of spades, 10 of diamonds in the cutoff. Definitely going to raise this up and do a little squeeze play, make it $18. Big blind and both the limpers calls. We're 4 ways to a flop, which comes down ace 9-3 rainbow. Not bad. When it checks to us, we're just going to check this back. We're still four-handed, and our hand really can't go for 3 streets here. So check it back. Turn's pretty good. 10 of hearts. And the big blind bets out for $40. The under the gun player gets out the way. The low jack calls. On turns, if I check back the flop as the pre-flop aggressor, I really don't like having a turn check rate or a turn raise range. It just looks like aces every time. Although on this turn, we could make a raise range with the 10-9, ace-10, pocket tens, and then throw in some hearts and straight draw bluffs. But it's a lot of thinking to do for a 1-3 game, so we're just going to call. River is not great. It's the 8 of spades, so queen jack does get there. Checks the low jack, who just bets $125 very quickly. Nothing to do here, right? We still got top 2, and we still beat some of his value range, like 10-9, 9-8, 10-8. So, given that our hand's quite under-repped here, we're just going to have to, pay him off. Make the call, big blind gets out the way, and he shows us jack 8 off, so we are going to scoop that one.
Alright, that concludes our second session. We were in for $800, out for, let's see, $12.95 for a win of $495. The bankroll is now up to $2,494, and we have one more session to go for this video. Let's get to it.
Okay, this is our first session at Park Casino in downtown Vancouver. We only had about 2 hours to play today in between appointments. Of course, I use that time to degen it up at the casino. So, we started the hand off with ace of diamonds, jack of hearts, and low jack. Facing a limp from under the gun, we're going to go ahead and raise this up to 15. Folds back to the big blind, who makes the call, and we go 3 ways to a flop, and the hijack's also in there. So, flop comes down 8-8-5, 2 hearts. It's a board that they really aren't going to connect with too much, so I think a small bet here can take it down a good percentage of the time. So we bet 15, hijack gets out of the way, and the big blind makes a call. Turn is the deuce of spades. Look guys, you can't just barrel off all your hands. I know ace jack's probably not good here, but we do have 6 outs to improve, and we could be up against another ace high. This hand just belongs in the check range, so we're going to go ahead and check this one back. River comes pretty good. We got the ace of hearts. So when it checks to us, definitely go for some value here. We bet 45, and unfortunately get the fold. Okay, so we're looking at 2 limps here, and the cutoff is going to go ahead and raise it up to $16. We're on the button 7-6 of hearts, could definitely 3-bet or call. We elect to call this hand, and we're going to go 4 ways to a flop, which comes very nice, very nice. 8-3-2 of hearts. Checks the original raiser, who goes ahead bets big, $45. It's very clear he has something here, so we are definitely going to go ahead and raise this up. So 3x is raised, $135, and it folds back to him. He does not think for long and just ships it all in. Easy call, and he tells us that he needs a heart once we table our hand, so we're just looking for no heart. Turns the queen. Hopefully he doesn't have pocket queens, because now he's got some full house outs. But the river is the deuce of clubs, so it doesn't have queens. And we managed to hold for a pretty big pot here at Park Casino. We've got my favorite hand, the pocket aces. Under the gun player and the cutoff and the button have all limped to us, and we are in the small blind. I'm going to go ahead and bump this up to $21. Big blind calls, and good news. Under the gun decides to limp re-raise to 60. Folds back to us. In my experience, limp re-raises are always just nutted. I'm picturing pocket kings here, and we're going to win a very big pot. Biggest one in the vlog. So we go ahead and raise it up to 180. I think the sizing is a little bit too big. I think we're like something 2.5x here, out of position. SPR is just getting so small here. But we do go 180. Big blind folds, and the under the gun player instantly mucks. So looks like he was just making a play. Final hand here at Park. we are facing a limp, and we look down at ace six of hearts in middle position. Definitely gonna go ahead and bump this up to $15, which we do, and we only get one caller from the limper. Flop's pretty good. Flop a flush draw. Jack 9-3, 2 hearts. Definitely gonna go ahead and bet this. I think we can check back hands like ace king, ace queen of hearts. Let's have some flushes in our check back range. Ace 6, I think is a pretty clear bet. So go ahead and bet, and we get the call. Turn doesn't improve our hand. 4 of diamonds, so when it checks to us again, we're definitely going to keep barreling here. Bet $55, and we do get the fold. Lock up this win here at Park Casino.
That's going to wrap it up for the third and final session of the vlog. We were in for $400, out for $906, bringing the total bankroll to exactly $3,000. We're 3% of the way there, guys. Thank you so much for watching my first vlog. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.